As an industry, when stakeholders assess our performance, we must understand and accept the extent to which we have met our goal of zero harm is only the only measure of our performance. And while we have made steady progress towards our goal of zero fatalities, achieving the lowest level of fatalities in 2019, we have had, regrettably and unfortunately, 2 successive years of unacceptable and deeply disappointing years of regression in our safety performance, which prompted an urgent response from the Minerals Council Board and from our engagements with the DMRE and our organized labor partners in this particular process, where we basically, in our board meeting in December, agreed to implement 8 critical interventions to, in particular, reduce the regression fatalities that we were experiencing at that time. Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot use COVID-19 and its associated disruptions to operate, particularly at different levels, for example, at the supervisory level, as an excuse. We must not underestimate, but at the same time, we must not underestimate the damaging consequences of the pandemic on our safety performance. Last year, we lost 74 of our colleagues, compared to 60 of our colleagues that passed away in 2020 versus the 51 fatalities that we had in 2019. The urgent interventions from the Minerals Council side, particularly after our December special board meeting, were designed to immediately halt the regression and then reverse the trend. It's far too early to say that we are successful, but we have seen some welcome progress areas so far this year. So far, we've seen an improvement in 2022 in our safety performance, with progress in areas like falls of ground and trackless and mobile machinery. But overall, we are still nowhere near the levels of safety that we want to see in the sector. We have a long way to go, and we have a lot more work to do to achieve our goal of zero harm. Mr. Temba Mkonazi, the chair of the Minerals Council CEO Zero Harm Forum, will address the work that we are doing to improve safety and some of the health aspects. And we also will get some additional inputs from both myself and Temba on some of the other health-related issues that we're focusing on. And then we'll have some concluding comments once we've had some inputs from our partners in this journey, from the Minerals Council President, Ms. Nalita Fakori, who's going to summarize some of the key points and takeaways and make some concluding remarks. With your indulgence, I'd like to focus for a few minutes on COVID-19, which has been devastating for our country and to a certain extent for our industry, but also for the world. And as we return back to our pre-COVID lives, we need to realize that COVID hasn't gone away, and there will be future variants that we need to manage as we go forward, a bit like treating it like flu epidemics when those do arise. And there are many people in our industry and in our country that are still suffering the effects of, from a longer term perspective, of contracting COVID, especially when they weren't vaccinated. So I think we must continue to vaccinate against the disease to protect ourselves, our family, our friends, and our colleagues. And I'd like to make the point that the mining sector, through the Minerals Council, working very closely with our trade union partners, with the Department of Health and with our government partner in the form of the DMRE, can be proud of what we've achieved so far in managing COVID-19, the way that we were able to get back to work quickly, the way that we were able to get our vaccination rates. And just to say that 3/4, 76% of our workforce have been at least vaccinated once. 67% have been fully vaccinated, and this compares to the nationwide vaccination rate of less than 45% for first jabs only. So, ladies and gentlemen, we need to maintain our intensity, improve our mining percentage, and ensure that all vaccinated employees also receive their booster shots in good time. When we consider the theme for this year's commemoration of health and safety in mining, we recognize that, notwithstanding the fact that the industry has risen to the challenge of combating the pandemic, that we did lose 750 of our colleagues to the disease. What I can report is that our fatality rate from employees in the mining sector that contracted COVID was 1.18%, and that compares to a national fatality rate of 2.6%, and that excludes unusual deaths. So I think as an industry, in partnership with organized labor and government, we have managed this pandemic exceptionally well from an industry level perspective. In identifying stepping up to the challenge as this year's theme, we recognize the progress made on many fronts in respect of health and safety, but that challenges still remain, and that we can only address these issues by working closely with our partners in the DMRE and organized labor, as we've done to combat the whole COVID-19 pandemic. There are many examples of excellence in our industry, demonstrating our members are stepping up to the challenge, but working in partnership with our partners in this process. And we'll highlight 3 examples of this particular progress. You'll see brief videos highlighting successes in our health and safety initiatives. The first one will be a video focused on addressing vaccine hesitancy, which was and which remains a national and global challenge. And the Minerals Council has played an important role in understanding the science and developing a toolbox to overcome hesitance. And we have an example here from Kumba Iron Ore, part of the Anglo-American group, where this effort was tackled at operations by peer educators who helped convince and support their colleagues in adopting vaccinations. We'll hear about this in our first video. In our second video, we'll hear some excellent leading work that's being done about the industry's approach to noise management and how we've made good progress in stepping up to the challenges of reducing noise levels and protecting the hearing of employees. And then our third short video, we'll hear from our colleagues at Northam's Eland mine, how they're addressing falls of ground by improving underground lighting, and particularly in stoping working areas. Then Themba will speak more about the progress the industry has made in addressing various other challenges around falls of ground, and particularly the historical performance in deep level platinum and gold, which he'll refer to a bit later. Ultimately, all of this is about #Making Mining Matter and working with our partners on taking this particular process forward. Before I get into the details of the program, I'd like to thank all of our partners for being here today. In respect of health and safety, we have one common goal, which is zero harm. There's no competition between companies or between our key social partners in this particular journey. And today is an excellent example of this, particularly with the large number of people that have turned out for this particular event